I think the U.S. job market is snapping back. You're probably not a teenager or a college student. A report released last month shows a huge decline in employment. In 2000, 45% of teens ages 16 to 19 were employed. And by 2011, it dropped to 26%. Joining us now is Adam Kirk, the Deputy Director from Workforce Solutions, Greater Dallas. It's nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
This hits really close to home, Adam, because I've got two teenagers, one that's employed and one that's looking for employment. So what are your good tips?
Oh, really, it's going to have to be a non-traditional path. It's looking at volunteerism. It's really having a considerate and concise idea of what you're looking for. And I know that a lot of times the youth that I've worked with, it's really been a broad perspective of they're really open to take anything, but it really is narrowing that down and being specific and targeting what you're looking for.
Why do you think it's so tough right now to find jobs?
Well, one of the things that I've found from my experience has been so difficult is the fact that you really are competing. The market is totally different than maybe even 10 years ago, 20 years ago when I was in that market, is really getting an understanding of the fact that you're competing against older and seasoned workers and, you know, people with a substantial amount of experience. And if I'm an employer and I'm looking at, you know, do I want to take a youth who has no experience, or if I'm going to take a seasoned adult who maybe has 20 years of experience, it seems like a no-brainer for them, and I understand that. Even
though the stats are showing, like nationwide, that unemployment is down, it still seems like people are still having a hard time finding jobs. So if the adults are having a hard time finding jobs, therefore the teenagers are really going to have a tough time.
It really is, and that's one of the hard parts. Is I think that we hear so much about the adults, and I think that the opportunities for youth are really. It really is easy to overlook that, but it really is imperative to stop and to realize that statistics are astounding to think about how many young adults is nearly double. The unemployment rate is nearly double just for youth in that 16 to 24 age range.
I can kind of tell you what we did our oldest, when he turned 16, and we said, all right, you're driving now, you need to supply your gas and you need to go get a job. This was just a couple of years ago, and so what we encouraged him to do is find something that you like to do, whatever it may be. And for him, he enjoys working out and things in the fitness industry. And so he went to our local gym and applied for a job. And actually, I think you had to apply online first. And about a week or two later, my husband said, well, what's the verdict? He's like, well, they didn't get back with me. I don't know, Dad. It's probably not going to happen. There's so many people applying right now because it was summer.
Right.
And my husband's like, nope. You go right in there and you talk to that manager. You need to put your face with this manager. And so my son went in there, introduced himself, and the guy said, all right, well, thanks for coming by. We'll let you know if something comes available. And about another week went by, nothing. So my husband's like, you go back in there, pop your head in and say, any news? Just keep in front of the manager. Eventually my kid got hired, and the guy said, the reason I'm hiring you is because you were persistent. I don't have a place for you, but I'm giving you a job because you were persistent. A lot of times that pays off.
It really does, and it's really a non-traditional approach.
Exactly.
And it's looking at that as it's not just the same, well, I put an application, I'm waiting for them to reply. It really is the overzealous, what are you going to do that sets you apart from everybody else?
You're exactly right, and I think that's what it's going to take today. And I know that even and he still works there, he's been there for now almost 2 years, and he told us just the other night, he said, the same place that I work, my friend at school works with us. He goes, and his dad also works with us as a second part-time job. So people are doing whatever they can to make ends meet, and the teenagers are competing with the people that are grown, mature adults for the same jobs nowadays.
Right, and you make a really good point. It's not just for that full-time work. It is a lot of that part-time, second and third time, second and third job.
Meet.
Absolutely.
Another thing that this is not really my segment, you're the expert, but another thing that we've really stressed to our kids is dress appropriately. When you're going into it, I don't think kids realize this today.
No. I don't think, and what's funny is and I laugh just because my wife and I raised her 15-year-old sister, and it's just really communicating that, you can wear jeggings and tennis shoes and cowboy boots, but unless you're applying, at Billy Bob's, it's not going to be a good match for you.
Exactly. So, you're right. Dress appropriately. Follow up. Be persistent. And first of all, just find that place that you would enjoy working. Find a place that would make you happy.
Absolutely, and one of the things that we've talked about is, and that we've tried to discuss with our youth, is really being open-minded. Is that it's not all, rarely do people start out doing their dream job. I know for me, I grew up in the Midwest, and I had to work in a meatpacking plant. And if that job taught me anything else, it's taught me that I need to get through college.
Exactly.
That's what it taught me, for me. And so it really is understanding that, having a realistic approach to what that work world looks like, and having an understanding of that it's not just a I applied, so naturally a job will come. It really is going to take a lot of work. That is your job. Is you're working to find a job. That's your full-time job until you get one.
Times are changing, and you're right. You've got to think outside the box to get a job, but elbow grease never changes. It'll always pay off.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, just taking that non-traditional approach, one of the things that we've looked at is, and we've encouraged with a lot of our youth is, if you're having a tough time in a market, is look at volunteering. What can you do to get that exposure and to build that network? Because a lot of times that we're seeing nowadays, it really is a lot of that networking. It's a lot of the LinkedIn. It's really making communications. And a lot of it is about who you know as well.
That's right. And then those doors will open for an actual paid job.
Exactly.
Just go apply yourself. Do something productive. Thank you so much, Adam. All right, we'll have more with the broadcast when we come back after this.